Hey guys, it's Shadow the Rat, and for today's video, I wanted to give you an update on my old rat Sugar. So currently Sugar is my oldest rat. She is 2 years and 10 months, so just under 3, which is very old for a rat. And Sugar's siblings all pass between 21 months and 29 months, so Sugar has outlived them by quite a bit. And she's also outlived her mom, who passed around 31 months of age, which was back in February. So Sugar is the last of her related group, and unfortunately I don't think she's going to make it to 3. Honestly, I think she's either going to pass in the next few weeks, or I'm going to need to take her in and have her humanely euthanized, because her quality of life has started to dip, and I don't want to let her get too bad. So I wanted to go over some of the issues going on with Sugar. I know this is not the most positive topic, but I do think that it is something worth talking about, because when you have rats, especially if your rats get to an older age, you will inevitably end up dealing with some sorts of health issues, just because, well, rats are prone to several things, and especially as they age, a lot of these health issues are more likely to happen, well, like with any animal. Anyways, back in May, I made a video about Sugar's mammary tumor. She had one developed then, and it was fairly small in size at the time. Right now it is about the size of a ping pong ball, so it's definitely grown quite a bit. That's because it's grown between May and the middle of October, so that's been quite a few months. And I decided at the time not to get it removed because I knew it was going to be hard on her due to her age, also due to how skittish she is. She really would not enjoy the recovery period. She wouldn't enjoy being given meds, she wouldn't enjoy being given a bandage or anything like that. And while rats don't typically need bandages after surgery if you give them pain meds, still, she would just really not enjoy that process, and if anything went wrong, it would just really break my heart because, she was still doing really well, and I didn't think that the tumor would get to the size of starting to impact her life before she passed away. And right now, it's not really impacting her a ton. However, that is because of a few other issues. Unfortunately, she has developed 3 other benign mammary tumors. She developed one a few months after the first one, and that was in her other armpit. That one is not quite as big as the first one. It's actually probably about half the size, and she doesn't seem to really notice that one too much. But, rats in general are pretty good at hiding these things and hiding how they feel, so it's kind of hard to judge oftentimes, especially with a rat like Sugar, who is so skittish and so reserved that you don't often see her coming out and doing things, for more than a few minutes a day. I mean, it's always been that way ever since I got her, and that was over 2.5 years ago, so it's not like a lot has changed in that regard. However, she has also developed a third mammary tumor, and that is in the same armpit as the first. That one is the most recent, and it's still extremely small. It's like pea-sized, but of course as it starts to grow, that will impact her more because it's in an area where there is already another mammary tumor. The fourth is sadly behind her leg. This one has grown quite a bit, and it is probably around 3/4 the size of the first one, and this one is also really impacting her mobility, at least compared to the others, because it really does not help her hind legs, which are already weak, which I will talk about in a second. Now, on top of that, she has unfortunately developed a reoccurring abscess, and that is on her lower abdomen. This is not a great area for abscesses, and unfortunately, while it has healed up several times, it keeps coming back despite antibiotics, so she is just not in a great position. She really hates being clean down there. She really just hates being handled in general, so I try to keep that to a minimum other than, what's strictly necessary, but it still sucks because she clearly does not enjoy it. She's not nearly as skittish as she used to be. She's mellowed out a lot with her old age, and also with just the fact that she gets a lot of attention from me. I mean, I take her out daily, 3 times a day, to give her supplementary food, and this is to help keep weight on her. She was doing okay in the weight department, but unfortunately her weight has started to dip. And when I say it started to dip, I don't mean that her general weight has gone down, because she still weighs about the same, but it's more that you can feel that she doesn't really have those fat layers anymore on her, and she's starting to slowly get into what I'd call the underweight category. So that's another reason I'm thinking that I might need to have her put to sleep if she doesn't pass sooner than that, because unfortunately she is just getting to the point where she can't really support herself nutrients-wise just by what she can intake, even with the extra feedings and extra high-calorie food, because the tumors are taking all this nutrients from her, so it's just not a great situation. On top of that, she has unfortunately developed hind leg degeneration, and this is something you see in older rats. It's unfortunately when their hind legs start to become paralyzed. It's most common in male rats over about a year and a half of age, and in male rats it often progresses to the point where they can no longer use their hind legs. They're just dragging them completely behind them. In female rats, it's less common, but if you do see it, it usually doesn't get to the point of full paralysis. It's more like they just can't really jump or use their hind legs very efficiently. And that is what basically happened to Sugar. She is probably not going to get worse in that regard. And this has been coming on slowly for about a month now. But you can definitely see that it's impacting her mobility some, especially because she already has the tumors impacting her mobility. So it's just not great to have yet another issue stacked on. So she's definitely been dealing with quite a few different things, but she's just acting fairly normal. She's coming out and just walking around a bit. She's never really come out too much. Even when she was younger, she would come out for like 15 minutes a day, and now that's dropped down to maybe 5 to 10 minutes. If we include the feeding time, which takes a few minutes, then it's a little bit longer than that. But in general, she just hasn't changed too much. I call her my grumpy old lady because she has pretty much been a grumpy old lady since the day I got her, and she was like 4 months old at the time, so that's been a long time of being pretty grumpy. She does still get along really well with her cage mates. They take really good care of her. It's really nice because they're super gentle with her. They will just groom her, they'll sleep with her, but they won't bother her. They don't try to do rough play, they don't try to, dominate her or anything like that. They are just completely super chill with her. I mean, she is so much weaker than they are right now, but they still respect her, and it's really nice to see. I mean, I'm really happy about that. I'm so glad I added in the young rats when I did because, well, first of all, I'm glad she got to kind of establish a relationship with them so they learn not to be rough with her. But on top of that, I'm also glad I added them because she is the last one from my group of 12, and she was never a very social rat, so if it was just me and her, she would not have really enjoyed life nearly as much these last few months. But instead, because she has these 5 younger cage mates, she still gets to interact with them in all these ratty ways, and she's definitely a lot happier having these sorts of interactions with her own species because, again, she's always been more of a rat's rat, so that's just fine. It's just part of her personality, and I'm glad she has these relationships with her other ratty friends. So that's pretty much what's been going on with Sugar. Sorry I didn't update you earlier. It's just been something that's been a lot of different issues coming on at once. I am planning on just continuing to monitor her and see how things go. In the next few weeks, again, she's likely either going to pass or I'm going to have her put to sleep, and we'll just see what needs to happen and how she's reacting on a day-to-day basis, because at this point it pretty much is a day-to-day thing. I have to monitor her, and I'm of course checking on her weight daily and giving her these supplemental feeds, and it's just a matter of seeing if she's comfortable or if she needs to be helped. And if she needs to be helped, well, then that's just fine. Sometimes you need to have rats euthanized, and as much as it sucks, it is a lot better than leaving them in pain and leaving them to suffer. So I will just do what I have to do. So, that's pretty much it. So yeah, sorry for this video being a little bit depressing. Honestly, I've been kind of putting it off because I knew I'd have to talk about these things, and it's not fun to talk about all the health issues rats can get. I'd much rather make these cute videos of them doing tricks and them being, social and cuddly and friendly and all these sorts of things, but it is true that we need more realistic representations of pet ownerships online, and I know videos like this don't typically get viewed as much as the cutesy videos, and they're just not as fun to make, but I do hope that, making a few videos like this will help people understand that there is more to having rats and just any pet really than the cutesy side. There's definitely a side that's not sunshines and rainbows, and unfortunately that just comes with having a living animal. Anyways, that's it for this video. I will keep you updated on Sugar, and I will see you next time. Bye!